To understand the scale of this rising monument, we turn to its engineering, an ancient structure whose historical accounts suggest a height approaching 90 meters, its base nearly matching that measure. Rough estimations show the tower required over 40,000 cubic meters of stone and mud brick. The tower's total mass may have exceeded 80,000 tons, rivaling the structural weight of mid-sized modern skyscrapers. With ancient tools and manpower, such a structure could have taken 50 to 100 years to complete, spanning generations of builders. Estimates point to more than 20,000 laborers, from brickmakers to masons, all moving in a coordinated rhythm that never paused. To support its weight, the tower relied on massive lower tiers, engineered to bear increasing pressure as the structure rose. Its core was mud brick, bound with natural bitumen. The outer walls were fired brick, shielding the structure from wind and time. Construction advanced through spiraling ramps and early lifting mechanisms, a choreography of strength and ingenuity. In its time, no structure stood taller. Even today, a tower of such mass and geometry would challenge modern engineering. As the sun rose over ancient Babylon, a vision began, one destined to reshape the world's oldest empire. On this very ground, priests and architects traced the first lines of a tower meant to defy the sky. From simple mud and straw, the first bricks were shaped, each weighing nearly 4 kilos. Thousands of bricks dried beneath the Babylonian sun, the earliest foundation of the rising giant. Furnaces roared day and night, hardening bricks strong enough to support a generation's ambition. Stones weighing over 50 kilos were dragged by teams of men, inch by inch, toward the growing base.
Thousands were summoned to work, believing they were part of a divine mission.
With each rising layer, the tower took its first form, a bold foundation reaching for the heavens. Priests blessed the structure daily, claiming the tower was ordained by the stars themselves. Through fire, these simple bricks transformed into the foundation of legend. By the year's end, the first full tier stood complete, a marvel for its time. Ancient plans revealed a stepped design, each level narrowing as it ascended toward the sky.
Massive stairways were carved to carry thousands upward in the years to come.
Tier by tier, the tower climbed higher, demanding more hands, more strength, more sacrifice.
Caravans of bricks flowed endlessly to the site, feeding the tower like a living beast. The tower also served as an observatory, aligning human effort with celestial signs.
By the third tier, the tower overshadowed the city, a monument of ambition visible miles away.
Scribes documented every brick and every worker, preserving the tower's progress in clay.
Reeds and bitumen fortified the walls, protecting them against wind, rain, and time.
With primitive cranes, the builders lifted loads no human alone could carry.
And so, the Tower of Babel began its rise, a monument not just of stone, but of human will. Each new level demanded greater strength, as workers hauled heavy stone blocks upward along spiraling ramps that wrapped around the rising tower. Stone cutters shaped every block by hand, carving the tower's identity into each piece of limestone and fired brick. Priests oversaw the work, claiming the tower's height would connect humanity with the divine realms above. The walls were bound with bitumen, a natural tar that gave Babylonian structures their legendary endurance. Even at night, the glow of torches kept the work alive, for the tower was a project too immense to ever sleep. Simple machines multiplied human strength, lifting bricks to levels no ordinary building had ever reached. Storms tested their resolve, But the builders learned to continue despite the fury of Mesopotamia's skies. With every level, the workers saw their city shrink beneath them, as the tower reached heights no one thought possible. Architects recorded every detail on clay tablets, ensuring the tower followed a divine geometric order. To move the heaviest stones, teams of men rolled them atop wooden logs, inch by inch toward the rising monument. Even the interior chambers were crafted with intention, each arch and recess honoring Babylonian tradition. Sophisticated bronze tools allowed craftsmen to refine the tower's structure with unprecedented precision. As dawn broke, shadows of laborers moved like ants along the tower's spiraling pathways. The Babylonians used exact measurements, calculating weight, slope, and pressure with surprising accuracy.
Not all agreed with the tower's ambition. Debates echoed about its true purpose, divine, political, or both.
The tower became the heart of Babylon, its shadow stretching across markets, homes, and temples. By the riverbanks, teams shaped brick after brick, feeding the tower's endless hunger for material. Wooden scaffolds clung to the tower's sides, allowing craftsmen to push ever upward toward the clouds. Before each new tier, priests sanctified the stones, believing the tower would bridge earth and sky.
As the sun set, the tower stood taller than ever before, an unfinished giant rising with every passing day.
The tower rose each day, reaching into skies once thought untouchable by human hands. To the people of Babylon, it became a symbol, both of unity and of ambition beyond measure.
Every stone carried the mark of hands that shaped a dream larger than life.
At night, the tower glowed like a beacon, a flame rising toward the heavens. Dawn after dawn, thousands pressed forward, driven by purpose and by fear of falling behind. Travelers from distant kingdoms came to witness the monument, whispered about across deserts and mountains. Up high, the winds grew fierce, testing the hands that shaped the tower's elegant arches. Minor tremors shook the foundations, reminding the builders that nature itself was watching. To the priests, the tower was destiny, an anchor linking humans to the realm of gods. Life in Babylon thrived as the tower soared, its presence woven into every corner of the city. Storms drenched the tower's walls, but the builders learned to work through thunder and rain. Days blurred into weeks, and the tower seemed to grow faster than the city could follow. They believed sacred rituals would anchor the structure against the anger of the heavens. Inside, rooms took form, quiet spaces where rituals and knowledge would one day converge. The higher they climbed, the greater the danger, each step a gamble against gravity. From afar, the tower became a lighthouse in the desert night, guiding wanderers home. Thousands labored together, each believing their effort would be remembered for eternity. By now, the tower was no longer a project. It had become the heart of a civilization reaching for the heavens. But the climb was unforgiving, and fatigue began to weigh on the hands that shaped its stones. Nature answered their ambition with fury, as desert winds struck without warning. Ingenuity became their strongest tool, as they forged new methods to lift the impossible. In the river's surface, the tower wavered like a dream still taking shape. Even the priests began to disagree, each with a different vision for the tower's divine purpose. Inside, the spiraling corridors echoed with the sound of labor and ancient prayers. Dawn revealed them as silhouettes climbing into the mist, step by step toward the unknown. A single flame was enough to remind them of the fragile line between light and darkness. The people watched history rise before their eyes, stone by stone, tier by tier. Some nights, work never ceased. The tower demanded more than daylight could offer. Yet at greater heights, even the smallest fractures whispered warnings. Storms raged across the heavens, testing the endurance of human ambition. But every storm left the tower standing, stronger than before. From the upper platforms, the world unfolded like an endless tapestry. With each completed level, hope surged through the hearts of all who labored. They believed the tower would carry them upward, just as the sky carried wings. At last, the tower neared completion, its shadow stretching farther than any monument before it. At last, the tower neared completion, its shadow stretching farther than any monument before it. Yet beneath its beauty, something stirred, an unseen tension waiting to reshape history. As the tower rose past 70 meters, stress accumulated in its lower tiers, revealing structural weaknesses impossible to ignore. Each brick weighed up to 800 kilograms, concentrating immense pressure that primitive foundations struggled to bear. Exposed to wind and humidity, the mud brick core faced gradual fatigue, threatening the tower's long-term stability. Calculations suggest the tower's load eventually surpassed the material strength, a limit no ancient engineering could overcome. As ramps grew longer, the labor efficiency dropped sharply, slowing construction and increasing structural risks. Strong Mesopotamian winds exerted heavy lateral force, further straining the tower's tall, narrowing upper structure. The sheer volume of materials consumed was staggering. Tens of millions of mud bricks and thousands of tons of stone and bitumen. By all engineering logic, the tower had reached a critical point, a height no longer sustainable with ancient technology. The first tremors signaled a truth long denied. This monument stood on a foundation that could no longer bear its own ambition. Fissures crept upward, each one a warning that the tower's immense weight had surpassed the limits of ancient engineering.
In the chaos, communication fractured. Voices once united now spoke past one another, fueling disorder.
The first major collapse tore away a full tier of the tower, sending thousands of stones crashing into the city below. From the streets of Babylon, witnesses watched their greatest symbol transform into their greatest fear. High above, the upper tiers surrendered first, collapsing in a cascade that echoed across the plains. Fires ignited across the structure, consuming scaffolds and hastening the tower's final descent. And then, the impossible happened. Its mighty core, once unshakable, began to lean. In a single moment, centuries of labor vanished, swallowed by a roar that marked the end of an era. When the dust settled, only silence remained, where once ambition reached toward the heavens. Survivors scattered across distant lands, carrying with them fragments of a shattered dream. In time, these divided voices evolved into the world's earliest languages, echoes of a single lost unity. Centuries passed, and the ruins faded, yet their shadow lingered in every tale told by generations. Millennia later, scholars uncovered its remains, piecing together the truth behind the legend.
Even today, its scale rivals the early towers of our modern age, an astonishing feat for its time.
The story of Babel shaped art, religion, and imagination across civilizations. To some, it became a warning. To others, a symbol of humanity's boundless ambition. But whether built in pride or hope, its rise and fall remain one of history's most powerful stories. And so the Tower of Babel endures, not in stone, but in memory.